Chosen one. A community is outraged and demanding answers, questioning how what was done to you was ever considered acceptable, and this eruption began the moment you pulled your power back. You released something massive, and it triggered a full-scale collapse in someone else's life. Someone here knew how to manifest, how to manipulate, how to orchestrate outcomes, but they didn't expect you to grow stronger. They didn't expect the collective to turn on them, and they definitely didn't expect accountability to hit this hard. People are turning on each other now, and this is happening because of karma, because of something that was done. It might have been done against you, it might have been done against what you stand for, against your beliefs, but there's a direct connection here between you being lifted up and them being pushed down. It's justified. Someone feels like this is completely justified. What comes around is coming around hard right now, and we're looking at cleanup time, because someone cleansed their space, someone cleaned up their diet, someone changed their work routine, someone started taking care of themselves and showing up for themselves in new ways, and the more you did that, the more it removed something from the equation. Someone hexed. Either you got hexed, or this little group of people placed a hex, and now we're looking at someone who needs to reconsider their alliances. Someone who needs to make new connections, because there's been a change in power here, a real power shift. Power is being lost rapidly. People around this group are losing faith in them, and here's the beautiful part. You are independent and free. Whatever you did in releasing that power, it released you completely from their hooks, from any connection these people had to you. Especially when it comes to spiritual manipulation, there's deep sadness showing up here. The kind that comes from looking back with endless regret, obsessive grief, replaying the past over and over, negative nostalgia that's eating someone alive. And here's what's happening. The followers are turning. The people who were on their side are turning their backs on this small group, the group that had it out for you. People are moving away from this group, isolating them, and we're looking at something connected to beliefs here, to faith, to philosophy, to how people think and what people value. The community is waking up to something, and siblings, younger friends, people with responsibility, are all showing up in reverse, meaning fake people, people you might have thought were your friends, your family, even your mentors. These people are being revealed as fake. A new world is trying to be born here, and this group has been trying to stop it. These people have been trying to stop you from taking over, from stepping into something bigger, and whoever these people are, their fixation on control and power is obvious, on having people listen to what they say. Your words hold real power, serious power, and there's something about cutting things out from the root, getting to the source, dealing with the foundation of the problem. There were monitoring spirits around you, spirits sent to watch you, to get into your home, to track your movements. These people, this group, felt bound, like someone was under some kind of spell. But here's the twist. I don't think the realization was there about being bound. There's spell work that was placed on an entire community, and the community is waking up to it now. Your words, your voice, your energy, your purity. It's waking people up to who you really are. It's waking people up to their own pain so healing can happen. And most importantly, it's waking people up to how manipulation was happening by this smaller group. This group tried to ensnare you, tried to get you on their side. Offers were made, opportunities were dangled, but it didn't work. You didn't fall for it, and now consequences are being dealt with for that failure. There's manipulation everywhere in this situation, lies and control at every level. Many people have been lied to about things, specifically about you, about your character. A lot of people were backing this group, feeling sorry for them, supporting them. Whether a circle or a coven, or just a tight-knit crew, it doesn't matter. Game over is coming out. This is finished for them. People aren't just turning their backs anymore. People are turning on this group. Anger is rising, and fake apologies are flying. You know the kind. When someone says something completely inappropriate, and their team tells them an apology is needed to save face, to keep their brand from crashing. You can always tell which apologies are real, and which ones are just damage control. This is damage control. Someone here is fulfilling a fantasy, and when we look at what needs to be known about cleanup time, someone didn't want to hear something. Someone doesn't want to listen to the fact that this is karma, that consequences are here for what was done to you, for what was done to a group of people. This person has been sleeping around, a lot, playing a long game. The desire was for your power, but in a different way than how you use it. The goal was to steal it, to harvest it, to take it without permission, and one of the ways attempted was through intimacy with your partners. Energy transference through bedroom connections. There's total drama happening now, public outbursts, and where the community used to say things like, "Oh, poor thing, I can't believe this happened," that's not being said anymore. Now the drama is seen for what it is. Now the lies are visible. Now the toxicity is recognized. If this message activated your knowing, hype this video to connect with more chosen ones on this journey. People who used to put up with this aren't putting up with it anymore. People who fawned over this group have stopped fawning. People who ate up everything that was said aren't listening anymore. And this new world that's being created by your authenticity, this group wants to destroy it, to shatter it, to break it and mess it up completely. But the destruction isn't working the way it was planned. A sentient being was dispatched, a monitoring spirit was released, or someone was sent against their will to watch you and report back. But now that energy is protecting you instead. That spirit doesn't want to hear their complaints anymore. Everything is turning its back on this group, including the very energies that were called on for help. Something has rotted here. The foundation is completely corrupted, and there's information that this person refuses to hear. Truth that's being actively rejected. This person or group is into certain practices, things that involve energy transference through intimacy, through group activities, through harvesting what doesn't belong to them. And this person won't acknowledge the consequences of these actions, won't face what happened when you were attacked. Someone here is physically sick, and the first image that came through was a clogged chest. Like when a child can't cough properly because everything is so congested inside. That's the energy surrounding this person right now. Clogged up, spiritually and physically blocked. This person doesn't want to see the damage being done, doesn't want to acknowledge the energies being called on, doesn't want to face the truth about the people being slept with. Because this person keeps going around speaking ill of you, literally cursing you with words while simultaneously doing the exact things you're being accused of doing. This person actively encouraged someone you were with to have an affair, to seek pleasure outside the relationship with you. And it was done on purpose, deliberately planned for energy harvesting. And now there's talk of divorce in the air, of breaking contracts. The police might have even been called to intervene. Very public displays of anger are happening now. This person is making scenes everywhere, creating noise and drama that everyone can see. People have had enough. The community wants answers now. Understanding is being demanded about what's actually going on here. Why were you targeted in the first place? For what reason did this happen? And there's something about protection coming through here. It feels like there's a specific person from this group who was deliberately sleeping with your partner because of your energy. This person wanted access to something you carry inside you. This person got caught. Evidence was found. The fallout of being exposed is being dealt with right now. Life is unraveling in real time for this individual. And when we look at what was being attempted to destroy, something becomes crystal clear. Information was being collected about you. Intel was being gathered on how to bring you down, and the obsession is obvious to everyone now. Why is the focus so strongly on you? What's driving this intense fixation? This person doesn't want to be seen as a hater, because then being threatened by you would be obvious to everyone watching. And that's exactly what's happening here. This person is threatened by you. You can read this person very well. You can see through the act they're performing, and that ability terrifies them. You have a gift for seeing the truth behind the mask people wear, and that gift became a blessing even when it was being used against you. The opportunity for healing that arose from these attacks wasn't because help was given to you, it's because you took what was meant for evil and transformed it into something good. You made medicine out of poison. And this person can't stand that reality. This person doesn't feel like you're on an even playing field with them. This person wanted the police to come after you instead of coming after them. A setup was attempted against you, and then this person got caught burning evidence, actually trying to get rid of proof of what was done to you. This group ran what you might call a whisper campaign. Attacks never happened loudly. Obvious accusations were never made. Everything was subtle, strategic, designed to plant seeds of doubt, without leaving fingerprints. Comments would get dropped in casual conversation. I'm worried about them. Something seems different lately. I hope everything's okay. Statements that sound like concern, but carry implication. Suggestions that something is wrong with you, without actually saying what. And those implications were heard loud and clear, or partial information would get shared. Something happened between us. I can't talk about it. It's too painful, but I'm really hurt. And it would be left hanging there. People's imaginations would fill in the blanks. Assumptions would form based on nothing but strategic silence. And those assumptions were always worse than anything that could have actually been said. The art of playing both sides was mastered. One person would be told one version of events, and another person would hear a slightly different version. The stories would contradict just enough that when those people compared notes, it looked like you were the one lying, like you were manipulating the narrative, when really confusion was being created on purpose. The community is finding out about meetings that happened, conversations where your name came up repeatedly, where this group steered every discussion back to grievances against you, where consensus was built through repetition. Say something enough times in enough different contexts, and people start accepting it as truth without ever questioning the source. This group encouraged others to cut you off, to block you, to refuse communication. It was framed as protection, as healthy boundaries, as people taking care of themselves. But what it actually did was ensure you couldn't defend yourself, couldn't share your perspective, couldn't break through the wall that was built around you. Someone in the community is remembering now how discouragement happened from reaching out to you, how every time maybe hearing your side was mentioned, this group had a reason why that was a bad idea, why it would be harmful, why it would be betraying the trust of everyone who'd been hurt. Neutrality was made impossible. You were either with them or against them, and being with them meant being against you. The community is realizing weaponization happened, being used as tools in someone else's vendetta. Kindness was exploited. The desire to help was manipulated. The sense of justice was misdirected, and anger about that is real, really real. Everything this group said about you was actually an inverted truth. You weren't the cold one. You were the one maintaining boundaries while being warm to those who deserved it. You weren't the manipulator. You were the one speaking directly while others played games. You weren't the liar. You were the one telling uncomfortable truths that nobody wanted to hear. The community is recognizing patterns they missed before. Every time you tried to warn someone, it was labeled as stirring up drama. Every time you set a boundary, it was called being controlling. Every time you protected your energy, it was painted as being selfish. This group took your strength and reframed it as weakness in people's minds. People are remembering conversations with you now through a different lens. You weren't being paranoid. You were being accurate. You weren't being dramatic. You were being honest about what you were experiencing. You weren't being difficult. You were being clear about what you would and wouldn't accept. The community is starting to understand that you saw this coming long before anyone else did. You tried to tell people what was happening. You tried to show them the patterns. You tried to warn them about the manipulation. But this group had already positioned you as unreliable, as someone whose words couldn't be trusted. So when you spoke truth, people heard lies. When you offered evidence, people saw desperation. And you kept your dignity through all of it. You didn't beg people to believe you. You didn't chase after those who turned their backs. You didn't lower yourself to playing the same games this group was playing. You maintained your standards. You held your boundaries. You protected your peace even when it cost you community connection. The community is realizing now that what they mistook for you being distant was actually you being discerning. What they thought was you being cold was actually you being wise. What they interpreted as you being hostile was actually you being protective of yourself. You weren't pushing people away. You were stepping back from toxicity. People are seeing now how you tried to take the high road, how you refused to engage in gossip even when gossip was being spread about you, how you wouldn't participate in smear campaigns even when you were being smeared, how you kept your mouth shut about things you could have exposed but chose not to because you have integrity. The community is understanding that your silence wasn't weakness, it was strength. Your refusal to defend yourself constantly wasn't because you couldn't, it was because you knew your character would speak for itself eventually. Your unwillingness to play their game wasn't because you didn't know how, it was because you knew that game had no winners. And now the community is watching you handle this vindication with the same grace you handled the attacks. You're not gloating. You're not rubbing it in anyone's face. You're not going around saying I told you so even though you absolutely could. You're simply standing in your truth and letting that truth do the talking. The community is learning what real strength looks like by watching you. It doesn't look like loud declarations and public displays. It looks like quiet confidence and consistent character. It doesn't look like fighting every battle. It looks like choosing which battles are worth your energy. It doesn't look like proving yourself to everyone. It looks like knowing your worth regardless of who sees it. People are realizing that you were the stable one all along. While this group was creating chaos, you were creating peace in your own life. While this group was feeding off drama, you were feeding your own soul with healthier things. While this group was obsessed with bringing you down, you were focused on building yourself up. The community is seeing that you never needed them to validate you. You never needed their approval to know your value. You never needed their belief to walk in your truth. You had something this group could never take from you. You had self-knowledge, self-respect, self-love that wasn't dependent on external validation. And that's what made you such a threat to them. Because they built their entire identity on what others thought of them, on how others perceived them, on the image they could maintain. But you built your identity on truth, on authenticity, on who you actually are, rather than who people think you are. The community is understanding now why you had to be taken down in their eyes, because your very existence was a mirror, showing them what real integrity looks like. Your presence was a reminder that manipulation isn't necessary when you have substance. Your energy was proof that you don't need to tear others down when you're building yourself up. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity, and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. The community's outrage is intensifying as more details come to light. Because it's not just about what was done to you, it's about what could have been. What relationships could have flourished if lies hadn't poisoned them? What collaborations could have happened if jealousy hadn't blocked them? What growth could have occurred if energy wasn't being wasted on manufactured conflict? People are calculating the cost now, the real cost of this manipulation. And it's staggering. Time was stolen, resources were misallocated, energy was drained, trust was broken, and all of it was for what? So this group could feel superior, so they could maintain control, so they could feed off drama and attention. The community is angry because benefit of the doubt was extended in the wrong direction, grace was given to the wrong people, support was offered to those who were exploiting it, and you, the one who actually deserved their support, were left standing alone. People are asking themselves hard questions now. How did this happen? How did so many intelligent people get fooled so thoroughly? How did obvious red flags get ignored? How did clear patterns get dismissed? How did warning signs get explained away? And the answer is uncomfortable but necessary. This group was skilled. They knew how to manipulate group dynamics. They understood human psychology. They exploited people's desire to be helpful and compassionate. They weaponized empathy and used it against the community. But that doesn't erase the responsibility each person holds for their own choices, for their own participation, for their own complicity, and the community is starting to sit with that weight, starting to understand that good intentions don't erase harmful impact, that being deceived doesn't absolve them of the harm they helped cause. The outrage is now directed both outward and inward. Outward at the group who orchestrated all this, but also inward at themselves for falling for it, for not asking harder questions, for not demanding evidence, for not extending to you the same grace they extended to your accusers. There was something you were supposed to ignore. An opportunity was placed in front of you, a blessing that this group wanted you to dismiss as unimportant. The goal was that you wouldn't get it before them, you wouldn't claim it first, and now it makes sense why this obsession exists with you. These people worked together as a unit. A collaboration was formed specifically to get you to ignore something or walk away from something that was meant for you by divine design. This person has health issues that are being actively ignored, something related to intimate health that this person keeps refusing to deal with, because dealing with it would mean taking responsibility for their actions, and readiness isn't there for that level of honesty. The desire was to place spiritual blocks on you, to mess with your money flow, your finances, your opportunities coming in, and this person wanted to continue spiritual warfare against you indefinitely. Regular top-ups of energy from you were desired to keep their own life functioning. The community found something out that changed everything, something that triggered real anger throughout the whole group. Lots of anger. This person who has it out for you is actually angry with you for rejecting them. You might have rejected them as a friend initially, rejected working with them on projects, just completely cut them off from access to you. And this person can't handle that rejection. This person reached out multiple times, and you blocked them every time, and that silence is eating them alive from the inside out. Lies were told about something connected to work and money. This person might actually be doing intimate work for money, as their livelihood, and the desire wasn't there for people in the community knowing this truth. The goal was everyone thinking you were doing that kind of work instead. Lies were deliberately told to the community about you to hide their own truth. And this community is highly religious or spiritual in nature. Strong morals exist about certain things, so these lies played perfectly on those deeply held values. The community ate it up initially. Listening happened without question. This person was taken in with open arms. The realization didn't happen about how toxic this person actually was underneath the surface. Stories were told about working hard, and honestly, about having their own money earned through legitimate means, and then getting caught in the lie happened publicly. Evidence came out that couldn't be denied. Destroying that evidence is being attempted now in desperation, but getting caught red-handed already happened where everyone could see. There's something legal here, like a warrant, like someone discovering a police record after being told there wasn't one, and that record shows arrests for certain types of work, for solicitation, and this changes everything. This person is saying it's not over, even though the world is crumbling, even though being kicked out of a safe haven is happening. Feeling invincible existed where this was happening, protected by the community that took them in, and I'm seeing figures in cloaks, all in black. The one in front, the leader, might have been homeless at one point. Debt issues existed, struggling to feed themselves happened, and this community took them in, fed them, brought them food, took care of them, and that kindness was used to spread lies about you. Everyone was told you put them where they are, that you caused the suffering, and someone in the community, through what seems like divine timing, connected with someone who knew the truth. A police officer maybe, someone with information, and it all blew up in their face. People want to fight now. Anger exists because feeling taken for fools happened. Real belief existed about helping someone in need, and with the drama and the police involvement, law enforcement might have been called to escort this person out, to remove them from properties, to enforce boundaries. Being seen as a poor victim isn't happening anymore. Being seen as a manipulator is what's happening. This is judgment, karma manifesting, and this person is really sick, physically ill, and that's part of why pulling on people's heartstrings was so effective, why people gave what was wanted so easily. Children exist too. Whether grown or young, kids are there, and that made people even more willing to help. But being alone is the reality. A single parent, and being kicked out of what was supposed to be a sanctuary, is happening because advantage was taken of everyone. This is divine judgment for what was done toward you, the nastiness that was directed at you. This person is obsessed with control and power, and now both have been lost. No control exists, no power remains. Perfect reversal, getting caught stealing happened, and what was stolen connects to someone who was taking care of them. Someone maternal, someone older, who opened their home. Involvement exists in some really strange practices, and a lot of theft is happening. Someone who represents the collective is showing up now, and draining you has been attempted for a long time, but the cord's been cut, severed, burned, gone, cut out at the root. Someone in the collective might be dealing with money issues, debt, food insecurity, but something massive is about to change. Something needs to be given back to you that was stolen, siphoned, taken by this group, and there's a dark, distorted feminine energy at the center of this. You're about to come out of a very difficult period, and here's what's coming through about karma. Feeling tied down and frustrated, that's them. Frustration exists at where life is, but putting themselves there is what happened, and there's a warning about a problem either now or in the near future. This group was collecting money from the community under false pretenses. Stories existed about emergencies that never happened, bills that needed paying, that didn't exist, opportunities that would change life if only funds were available, and people gave, generously, repeatedly, because that's what you do when someone in your community is struggling. You show up, you help, you contribute what you can, but now the community is adding up the numbers, and something doesn't make sense. The amounts being received should have solved the problems being claimed, should have created stability, should have made a visible difference in circumstances. But the problems never got better, the emergencies never stopped, the crises kept coming one after another, and now wondering is happening about where all that money actually went, what it was really funding, because it clearly wasn't going toward the stated purposes. Someone in the community kept records, dates and amounts and reasons given exist, and when looking at it all together, a pattern emerges. Every time you had something good happening, every time you were about to level up or step into a new opportunity, suddenly this group had an emergency that required immediate financial help. The timing was too consistent to be coincidence. Community resources were being used to try to keep pace with you, to try to match what you were building, to try to maintain the appearance of being on your level or above it. Because if the community saw you thriving while struggle was happening for them, questions might have been asked, the narrative might have cracked. So money meant for genuine need was taken and used to fund an image, and beyond the money collected directly, your access to resources was being blocked. Hearing about opportunities would happen, and making sure you didn't know about them was the goal. Learning about jobs or projects or connections would happen, and either taking them for themselves or making sure someone else got them. Anyone else, just not you. The community is realizing now that some of the setbacks you experienced weren't bad luck. Sabotage happened. Deliberate interference from people who had access to information that shouldn't have been shared but was. People who had influence that shouldn't have been used but was. People who had trust that wasn't deserved but was exploited anyway. You didn't just survive an attack. You didn't just defend yourself successfully. You claimed your power back, and it caused a domino effect that destroyed an entire operation built on stolen energy. That's not victim energy. That's not barely getting by. That's power. Real power. This community is outraged because finally seeing what was happening is occurring, finally understanding that being used happened, being manipulated happened, being turned against someone who didn't deserve it happened, and justice is wanted, answers are wanted, understanding is wanted about why this was okay to do to you. And the answer is simple: it was never okay, it was never justified, it was never right, but you didn't need them to validate that. You didn't need the community to wake up for you to know your worth. You knew it all along. That's why you kept healing. That's why you kept cleansing. That's why you kept showing up for yourself even when everyone else was fooled. You released your power, and their house of cards collapsed. You spoke your truth and people woke up. You maintained your purity and the spell broke. Not because you were trying to expose them, not because you were fighting them, but because your authentic energy is that strong, your light is that bright, your truth is that powerful. So we started with you releasing your power, with you claiming back what was yours, and that act, that simple act of self-care and boundaries and choosing yourself, triggered everything that followed: the unraveling, the exposure, the community turning, the judgment manifesting. All of it started because you decided you were done giving your energy away. And now we end with you standing in your power fully, with a community that sees clearly, with enemies exposed completely, with your energy returned to you multiplied, with opportunities opening, with money flowing back, with your reputation restored, with your truth validated. This is what happens when a chosen one stops playing small. This is what happens when you stop letting people feed off what's yours. This is what happens when you cut the cord and walk in your full authority. The universe backs you. Divine justice moves on your behalf, and everyone who came against you has to answer for it. You released your power, and everything changed, not just for you, for everyone involved, for the whole community. That's the impact of a chosen one, who knows who they are. That's the influence of someone who carries real anointing. That's the effect of authentic power reclaimed. The community wanted to know why it was okay to do this to you. And through all of this chaos, through all of this exposure, through all of this judgment, the answer became obvious. It was never okay. And that's exactly why divine justice showed up. That's exactly why the truth came out. That's exactly why karma struck so hard, and so publicly. Your power released isn't just about your freedom, it's about everyone's freedom. Everyone who was under that spell, everyone who was manipulated, everyone who was lied to. Your light breaking through the darkness freed more than just yourself. And that's the mark of a true chosen one. Your liberation creates liberation for others. So stand in that, own that, know that. You didn't just survive an attack. You dismantled an entire operation by being yourself, by choosing health over sickness, by choosing truth over lies, by choosing your power over their control. And the whole community is witnessing what happens when someone tries to come against the anointed. You released your power. Power was lost by them. The community woke up. Justice manifested. And now you walk forward into everything that was always meant for you. That's not a comeback story. That's a takeover. That's dominance. That's the energy of someone who knows exactly who they are and what is carried, and nothing and no one can stop what's been set in motion by divine order. The circle is complete. What started with your choice to release ends with your complete victory, and everyone involved learned a powerful lesson about what happens when you mess with someone who's true